Here we go then for the race.
Did the sprint race clip, Alistair?
Yep. I got 2 parts because the first part I wasn't sure if it was clipping, so I clipped it and then I did the second for like 8 laps. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe.
Look, once we have a good start and then we have to restart.
Oh shit, I don't have to fucking...
So it is Tice in first position with Dan in second place. Going on, the lights are on now. And it's lights out, away we go. And it's a pretty even start from this front two, but it is actually Dan that gets the better start of the two of them. Down on the inside line, will he make a move going to turn 1? He might. He has the potential to. You know, he's going to back out into turn 1. That will give him a huge slipstream on the exit of the corner. Everyone runs wide. One of those drivers being Fabian. As Brett goes ahead of his teammate, it's now side by side with Dan. We watch now Dan and Brett are side by side going down here. Max on the inside of Ian. He might make a move. Brett trying an alternate strategy here. Dan spins out into the third corner now, and that is going to put him in last place. Will they have a restart? We shall see. The battle for the second is now intensifying. Nope, just you.
So no restarts, god damn it. Sorry if someone does.
Right. Brett on the soft tires trying an alternate. I imagine he's trying a 2-stop strategy today, which is very aggressive. I'm probably going to do a soft, medium, medium.
Very early for the hard and do like a Hungary strat, or he's counting on the safety car or something.
That's just stupid either way, to be honest. I don't mean to be biased, but still. Anyway. So Brett will have a huge tire advantage on this opening up. I don't think he thinks he has the pace here. But he's not using as much ERS maybe as he usually... Oh, now he is. So now Brett is commonly using a lot of ERS in these races to gain time on the leaders, but is down in last position now with Max now in 4th place. We'll have a good advantage here, but look at Fabian on the medium tires is actually faster than Brett. So look, this is the strategies there. So the strategies are the pit window opens on lap 16 for the hard tires if you're on the mediums, but for Brett on the softs he's going to be pitting around lap 8 or maybe lap 7 even, so he's going to be pitting extremely early for another set of tires. I'm actually going to go for medium hard or maybe just go straight onto medium medium, which I think either way wouldn't be the best strategy. But Max is very close to the back of Fabian now. Goes in deep to the corner, does Fabian. Max just needs to be patient today. Just watch these things happen in front of him. Fabian seems to have the pace to be a race-winning contender here today. Brett does not. Brett on these soft tyres just doesn't seem to have the pace, as Dan isn't really gaining much time on Ian now, but Ian is losing time to this lead pack. As he heads through here now. Ian making a little bit of a mistake there, a little bit of a close moment going through turn 7. As it is Tice who leads on the second lap of the race, as DRS is now enabled, and that will give a huge amount of breathing room to Brett. But once again, it is indeed Tice getting the fastest lap, using all this ERS, but it is Fabian who has the most ERS. He seems to be the person who's better at saving. Max also saving around about the same amount as Fabian. So Fabian on around about 55%, so is Max, and Ian has 63 with Dan on 79, and the leaders have as little as 6 in Brett's terms, but 30% for Tice in the race lead. So the DRS will be massively beneficial to Brett now with this lack of ERS that he's been using, but it is Max now in the slipstream of Fabian, who has a chance to get onto the podium places after a torrid sprint race. Brett though behind Tice on the first lap. He's gained a little bit of time in the first sector this lap with the DRS, and he's a little bit closer this lap than he was last lap, so hopefully he can get back in this lead battle. Max with a 10th up in the middle sector, not quite purple, but really putting a lot of trust in the car there through turn 8 on the exit curve, almost spinning out. The car got very light, you could visibly see that. And Ian's TV is now acting up, which will cost him some time. Here comes Brett now with a huge exit out of the final corner, using all the track he could. He's going to go to the inside maybe. Tice saving ERS in the meantime. Down the inside goes Brett into turn 1, and he spins out at turn 1. What was that? Fabian goes in, and Max gets into 3rd place, but I think he may have made contact. He did. Max has lost his front wing and the safety car is deployed. As Fabian was about to take the lead from Tice there, the safety car comes out and Max has no front wing after hitting the front of Brett's car. Brett has no front wing either, so there's contact between the two of them. Brett spun it into Max, and that has given them both damage, and the safety car has been deployed.
Alistair, did you get a good angle of it?
I got the onboard of Brett. I didn't really get the best angle of the incident itself. I did see that Max was probably going to drive in though. The camera angles are kind of goofy on the spectator menu, I can't lie.
What like happens?
So it looked like Brett made a move after getting a fantastic exit out the final corner. And as he went to the inside, Tice couldn't really give much space at turn 1. Brett was committed to the move, braked late, hit the front right tyre of Tice going into turn 1, spun out and into the path of Max, who was going for the apex of the corner, hit the front of his car, I believe, after slowing down a bit. As Fabian went on the outside of him to avoid him, and that gave him a race. Good. I think at this point the best option wouldn't be to pit, because it is too early in the race for mediums to pit. I think Brett has a good opportunity now. He might as well pit anyway because of his strategy. But Brett may actually be in a position to use the medium tyres and get on the same strategy as everyone else, and that actually might help him because he will have 4-lap fresher tyres, or by the restart will be around about 6 laps fresher tyres at least. So Fabian is in second place, with Ian now in third, Dan fourth. Dan is back in the race now because of the safety car. Max pitting for any front wing. He will get a better stop between the two of them. Max was ahead before and will now pit for, I believe that is hard tyres. Yes, it is. Let's watch the tyres now. So Max on the hard tyres, it is Brett on the medium, so Brett will be slightly faster than Max, well, because of the tyre advantage, but I believe that Max does have actually slightly more pace than Brett in this race if he can hook together the lap times. He has been very patient in this race, however, and that was a very unfortunate incident with Brett to bring out the safety car, as Dan almost going alongside Ian there. So is Ian in the podium positions again in a battle for third place, just like last race, but instead of Brett being the battle for leader, it's Fabian now, the other McLaren, in this battle for first place.
I hope for Fabian that he wins. He has not won since season 1.
And Brett once again struggling to save ERS under the safety car, trying to catch up to this lead group. Has 50%.
Safety car, Jesus.
So Fabian now in second place. So already one unscheduled stop for Max and Brett, but I believe Brett was probably better off pitting this early with the safety car, just not better off with the lack of track position that he now has, as it says that Tice is the current championship leader, and he is indeed. So Tice then leading from Fabian second, Ian third, Dan fourth, Max fifth, and Brett in last position after contact with Tice for the race lead. After a bit of an over-aggressive move into turn 1, it wasn't really worth it. I think he was thinking that if he got that move done, he would get re-overtaken into turn 3 and then be set up for a good move into turn 4, but that just doesn't quite work. It's pretty risky to try that so early on in the race, going into the first corner. But we'll see how this goes. On the restart, Tice has been very quick so far, and with ERS, Tice is very smart, but Fabian has been saving the best of anyone here today and has managed to keep good pace with that. But with the safety car restart, on the second lap after the restart, the DRS will be re-enabled, and that will give Fabian and everyone else as well behind him a good opportunity at the race lead and at the positions ahead of them. So Tice it is who leads, Fabian in second, Ian third at the moment, but we'll see how Max and Brett do on their fresh tyres. Max on hard, so he's going for a longer strategy than everyone else on this restart. There's Tice in first, Fabian in second, Ian in third then.
What is Brett doing?
Brett already hanging back. I don't know what he's doing here. I think he's slowing down. He can't accelerate. I think there's a problem with the car. It won't let him go, and now he's going to get up to speed. That's true, and that's what he was using 6th gear there, and he couldn't accelerate, so it was getting stuck there. Fabian is right on the back of Tice, the other restart, but Tice gets a fantastic restart, and that's going to give him a good opportunity now. We're going to look at Max on this restart on his onboard to see what he can do against Max, and he goes wide into turn 1, and already spinning out of second place is Fabian. Fabian spins out of second on the restart, all by himself it looked like, as he's going into the first corner, and now it puts Ian into second place, and that means Tice has a fantastic opportunity to pull away from the field potentially here, but and it was too much curb at turn 1 for Fabian, and that has cost him massively now. He's all the way down in last place, 2.6 seconds off the lead. Brett has gone ahead of Max on the restart now, but Max will use a little bit of ERS trying to get back past. He's on the hard tyres though, so this isn't his race really. He's on a different strategy. He doesn't really have to worry too much about track position, but it might cost him time if he is faster. So this is a very interesting leg of the race now. But it's Brett, he's 1.7 seconds behind Dan. Dan is right on the tail of Ian now, and this is Tice's race to lose, as he's pulling away already from Ian, who is going to be battling with Dan very shortly. But Max is still all over the back of Brett now, and gets a much better exit out of turn 7, all over the curve. We're getting a little bit looser. The car always gets light there, I've noticed, on Max's onboard. We're going to look at Dan now as he's going chasing down Ian. He gets a good corner there. They did actually lose some time to Ian through there because of Ian's very smooth driving. And behind now, look at Max. He's right over the back of Brett now, going for 4th place. So the battles all over the field are really intensifying, as Fabian's already gained half a second on Max at the back of this queue. He's getting held up a bit now. Oh, massive oversteer on the exit of turn 1 from Max. almost spinning out, and he's lost a lot of time now to him. But here, look at Dan right behind Ian. Will he make a move here before the DRS has been enabled? He will not, and he does seem to have around about the same ERS actually as Ian. So this will be a battle between Slipstream as on the inside, on the grass. That's a brave move to be squeezed on the outside, finding any space he can. He's already lost 2 seconds to the race leader, Tice there, but down the inside goes Dan, and he makes a clean move for the race, or for second place, I should say, and that will give him a chance to maybe close in on Tice in this race. So we'll see how that goes as Brett is closing in rapidly on this battle for third place now, and so is Fabian on Max, because Max seems to be held behind Brett a little bit now, and he still is. And we'll watch Max as he goes through here. These camera angles aren't the best in this race today, I can't lie. So we'll look at the onboard of Max, and look how much time he gains under braking here, just closing in. He manages to brake so much later than Brett, and a mistake there from Ian, but he does manage to get the car straightened out again. DRS is now enabled on the second lap of the restart, and Dan keeping a consistent gap to Tice here. Oh, and his contact a little bit there. Max just hitting the back of Brett. He gets on the exit sausage curb, and that will give Max the inside line going down the back straight. And with the ERS, he'll power past Brett. I don't think he managed to do anything against him. Ian is right on the back of Dan now because of the issues that Dan is having on the exits of corners, as he says down the radio. And Brett has a terrible exit out turn 3, and that means that Max is now back in this race for third now. I think he actually might be the best contender to get a challenge against Tice, as Tice is starting to pull away a bit from Dan. We'll look at the ERS figures here. Tice has 100% and Dan is on 75, so Tice driving a very smart race today. Max hasn't got as much ERS as these cars in front of him, but he does have the pace. And oh, what on earth happened there? As he's inside Ian, looks like a little bit of a... See, a lot of lag there for Ian has caused Max to go inside his car, so that's a strange moment there for Max, as Tice absolutely pulling away from the cars behind him. They gained half a second in the middle sector alone on the cars ahead, and now everyone is within DRS of each other in this train. And now look at this, Brett's pitting again, or is that Fabi? Fabian's the one. Brett is actually the one pitting. I'm not sure what he's doing. We'll see what tyres he goes on to, but we'll look at Max in the meantime, as he's right behind Ian now in the battle for third place. And Max spins out again. You can see that coming. He got on the power way too early, and he resets to the track, but now in 5th position as Brett comes out onto hard tyres. So he thinks that's the best strategy. So Brett thinks the hard tyres are the best way to go here, and I think he's going to try and go to the end on these tyres. So this is good. So I think Tice will have to really push here to make sure that he can cover off these random undercut attempts from Max and Brett. I don't think that'll be a problem though, because Max seems to be spinning a lot this race, struggling with traction on the exit of corners, as he so often does in this league. But Ian's still staying within DRS, staying within touching distance of Dan, but doesn't get the best exit out of turn 4. Fabian now will have a good chance to close in a little bit now, as Max spins out again in turn 4, and the yellow flags came out once again for a second, and he gets going once again. Really, Max struggling in this race as he goes onto the grass, and he will retire with the safety car as well. He is out of the race. An intentional crash from Max. He is out of the Grand Prix, and I think that should be a safety car. Maybe not, we'll see, as he's kind of away from the firing line, which I don't think that actually will be a safety car. It would have been one already if it was. So Max is out, and there's no safety car for that, and that is not what Brett wants to see, as that would have helped him in this race, being basically a pit stop ahead of everyone else. So unfortunately,
I think Tice has to get to Max before. Okay, no safety car.
No safety car at all. Max has already despawned, so that is it for Max.
I got free pit stop.
So
Good.
So Tice, Dan, Ian and Fabian now all close together. Fabian is the closest to anyone in this battle now. He's 6/10 behind Ian, but he's actually losing time in the straights. I believe that might be because of the more ERS that Ian has, and I am correct there. Dan is gaining ERS and keeping a relatively constant gap to Tice now this lap, only losing 2/10 so far, make that 3, as Fabian right behind Ian. Ian running a bit wide, almost on the grass there through turn 5. I should keep saying turn 5. Turn 5 is the kink, goes right, sweeping right before it goes into the left-hander of 6. So going into turn 9 now, the penultimate corner. Ian again losing time in the braking zone to the car behind. Running a bit too much curve, getting drifted out wide. A terrible exit as well for Ian. Will he lose this position to Fabian? He might have a chance to come back at him though, because he's trying to overtake into turn 1. He goes down the inside, does Fabian. That's aggressive. Contact between the two of them under braking, and Ian loses time on the exit because of that, and because he just couldn't get the car straightened out in time. And Fabian overtook him before or just after the DRS detection zone, so that actually gave him DRS instead of Ian. So now Fabian basically getting a free DRS on the back of Dan now in his bid to get second place in this race. So it's Tice that leads by 4 seconds, 4.2 seconds over Dan, and then Fabian in third position. He looks to have the best chance here today to get in this lead battle. Fabian right behind Dan, still trying to make something work. So Fabian it is in third place, 5 tenths behind Dan. He's gaining time in this middle sector this lap, and as Dan continues to lose a little bit of time to Tice at the front, Fabian looks to be the biggest contender to Tice at the moment on pace. So we'll see how that goes. Ian has completely dropped out of DRS of Fabian. Fabian has a huge amount of pace here today, as Brett is actually gaining a lot of time on the cars ahead of him. The interval is very big. Actually, you should look at the gap to the leader, and a 3-second time penalty for warnings for Dan. That is massive in this race. So Dan has a penalty, 3 warnings already. That is very fair, I'd say, because it wasn't under the safety car where he was getting those warnings. So I think that is a fair penalty. As look at Fabian on the exit of the corner. We'll look at the gap to the leader just to see if Brett is gaining any time on Tice. We shall see later in the race if that works. But there we go, down into the corner. That's a very late dive from Fabian down the inside, and he gets the car stopped and turned in as well. Will Dan get the switchback? He gets a good exit, and he's going to go down the inside once again. They're side by side going into turn 5. And Dan gets back ahead of Fabian. So this is a key moment in the race, and Brett is losing time to the leader, so this strategy isn't really working for him. And oh, Dan overcorrects, he spins out at turn 7. Oh, that's massive for Dan. That was a huge moment, but that might have been contact between the two of them. That was not Fabian's fault, to be honest, because Fabian had no reaction window at all to avoid hitting the back of Dan as he overcorrected. So I think that was a bit of a racing incident, if you could call it that. And Ian is now back into second place, so now Fabian re-overtaking Ian may come up shortly, and the gap to the leader is 8 seconds. So now Dan has to once again gain the time on Ian. So Ian is driving a very clean race, and that's actually helped him massively in this otherwise very chaotic Grand Prix. So we'll see if anything else happens today. All the gaps are pretty spread out, but already Fabian gaining a lot of time on Ian this lap. But it doesn't have any ERS, crucially, Ian does. Tice has absolutely full ERS, not using any. There's no point for him to use the ERS towards the end of the race. He might, just to get the fastest lap maybe. But at the moment, in terms of ERS figures, it is Ian with the second best, Dan with the third. And Brett and Fabian are pretty even with 25% ERS, so they're not very good at the moment. Tice it is on 100% ERS. At the race lead, so he just has every bit of advantage in this race and nothing to worry about at all. Fabian though has got within DRS range of Ian almost, and he is now in DRS range of Ian on this lap. Heading into the final corner, we'll see how this goes into the final turn. Ian running wide once again. There goes Fabian then. A second down on his best lap this time round. Dan with the 3-second time penalty. His race has been pretty apprehended, I'd say.
Either, so...
Unless he gets a 2-second time penalty, he won't be able to serve that 3 seconds in the pit lane. So.
Wait, am I able to serve it in the pit lane?
Oh.
Okay, sure. Then I'll serve
So
it in the pit
potentially
lane.
Dan might be able to serve his 3 seconds in the pit lane.
Okay, then I'll just do that, like...
So you can serve penalties in the pit lane if they were inherited but not given during the race, like per the rules of the league. So Dan may be able to serve his penalty in the pit lane. Look how much faster Fabian is than Ian, who has lost almost 2 seconds to Tice this lap alone. And he spins out right in front of Fabian, just managing to avoid him. Ian has spun around completely, and that gives Dan third place once again. And that was very unlucky for Ian as he spins around, doesn't reset the track, and he's stuck in the gravel. Ian is stuck in the gravel, and that means that Brett will get ahead of him as well. And Ian resets the track. That is very costly for him. That could have been a safety car if he stayed there for long enough. Now Fabian's been unleashed finally, with a clean track ahead of him to maybe chase after Tice, but once again I just don't think it's going to matter because Tice has 100% ERS. Fabian only has 35.
Ian going in.
And Brett is keeping a relatively constant gap to Tice now with the lack of tyre wear on his hards, but it's just impossible for Brett to do anything this race, I'd say. Even though he's a pit stop ahead with he'll have 11 lap older tyres though than Tice does, so, or 9 lap older rather. So it's going to be very probably will be quite easy for him to gain time. As long as Brett saves ERS, he should be fine in this race, but we'll see what he can do. He's losing time in the straights just because Tice has more energy stored that can actually give him more speed in the straight line. Down using ERS, maybe trying to catch up on Fabian Gar, getting light once again. Everyone's struggling there at turn 8. It seems like the exit curve from turn 7 is just really giving people a lot to worry about. It's Fabian Pitts. Fabian pitting from second place. That is a very crucial strategy call in this race. Will Dan pit? Yes, he will. So this is going to be interesting. They're going to come out behind Brett in this race. And that means they have to do the overtake on the track against Brett, which will be quite interesting to watch. So Brett comes out now in second place. Fabian is now going to be in a net P3. And not a best turn 1 from Brett as he comes out the pit, comes out turn 1, and Fabian comes out the pit lane. There is Fabian now. Down going into turn 3. But it is Tice that leads from Brett in second. Brett loses all of his time in the straights because of the lack of ERS. Fabian has 70%. He gained loads of ERS in that last part of the lap, which just proves Brett needs to learn how to save his ERS, because he literally, if he did, he would gain so much more lap time on Tice at this point. And he is gaining a little bit now, but he just keeps using it as Tice pits. Very smart strategy call from Tice to pit now. He might as well. Will he come out ahead of Brett though? This is interesting. If he has a bad stop, he might actually have to come out behind him, but no, it's a very good stop from Tice there. 2.2 seconds, I believe that was. Yellow flag is out, and it is. It's Brett. Brett has spun out, and he's stopped the car. Oh my goodness, that is massive in this race, and that means he's completely over.
Why is he still standing still? It's not working.
Oh, there's contact. Ian has crashed into him, and that might be a safety car now.
Please be a safety car.
Ian has crashed into him, and the terrible camera angle once again not showing what happened, but I could see that in the mirror of Brett that he just smashed into the back of him on the inside because he was parked on the inside. I think Brett was trying to crash into somebody there, and is still trying to bring out the safety car. He's hitting the wall. Don't know what he's doing. I think he's just trying to bring out the safety car without crashing out of the race, which is illegal.
Yeah. What is he doing?
Yeah, 10-second time penalty for exceeding track limits. And he will probably get disqualified at this road just because of what he's been doing. Trying to bring out the safety car. This is a very strange... He is there. He's crashing into the wall on purpose.
Yeah, he's trying to bring out the safety car.
He's trying to reverse into Tice, and the safety car is now out.
Brett is disqualified. That's not allowed.
Brett is now disqualified from the race. We might have to red flag the race to kick him out of the race and restart. Might actually be a good idea at this point.
We can do that. We can do that.
We have to disqualify Brett, otherwise he'll just ruin the race. No, he left the session anyway, it's fine. Okay, so no red flag needed.
Okay, no pit stop needed. What was he doing? I got a warning under the safety car.
Brad's been disqualified from the race.
Brad will get 0 points, that means. So Tice. Why did I just get no delta and now I got delta again?
Oh. Ian Pitts. I believe you might be paying for medium tires.
Could be a smart choice actually. Mediums last long.
Ian has front wing damage from the collision with Brett, so I believe that he's going to come onto the medium. Oh, but he comes onto used mediums, and that's massive in this race. He hasn't got any more sets of mediums or hards, so he's going to be in a massive curtailed position now with old mediums in this race. Yeah.
Can I overtake Brett's AI car? Fabian, if you're listening to the stream, overtake Brett's AI car. He's disqualified, so overtake him. Je mag hem inhalen, Fabian. Hij is het toch niet. He's gonna go into the pit lane anyways.
So Brett is disqualified from the race.
Yeah.
No, it is turned on Tice because he is pitting for a new front wing. His AI car pits for soft tires, so that's not good. So Brett will get 0 points. No, you'll
I
get a
think
penalty
he's
then.
disqualified.
You might.
No, he's disqualified.
No, he left the session, so it doesn't matter. His AI car will be driving.
Yeah, but he still won't get any points because